We appreciate it. Through three games, how would you evaluate the performance of the team? And do you feel like the results have been, have the results really justified the performances of the team?
I think each game we've grown a little bit. Obviously, with the first few games being ones where you try and build chemistry as best you can. But no, I would say that the scores themselves haven't been representative of the effort and the outcome of what we've put out on the field. I know that there's a lot of people talking about the actual points we've gotten away from those three games, but I will say that I have seen growth. The coaches have seen growth, and us as players have seen growth in the chemistry, the effort, and tactically and technically what we're trying to do on the field. So I would say they have not been very representative of how we feel we've been doing, but sometimes that's just the game of soccer.
Recording in progress.
Thank you. Next, we will go to Joe Chats from On Tap Sports.
Thanks, Z. Thanks, Chris. How you doing this morning?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, just fine and dandy. Always appreciate your time.
Sure.
Chris, you say you're seeing progress. 1.9, sure, I'll bring that up, of course. But are you seeing frustration from your teammates? Are you seeing motivation from them based on these results? How's the response been?
After each game, it's a little bit of frustration. I mean, as you can imagine, and I'm sure as some fans are feeling as well, that scores haven't gone our way. But that frustration, like you said, quickly turns into motivation when we get right back into the work week. Looking forward to Montreal. We're quite eager to get back out there and reclaim 3 points on our home turf. So yeah, no, I mean it's definitely replaced with motivation pretty quickly. I know, like I said, everybody's eager, everybody's anxious to get back out on the field and prove what we should have proved these last three games, which is that we're a team that gets 3 points every game.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next, we will go to Alex Campbell from CHGO.
Morning, Chris. Thanks for taking the time for us. I know we all appreciate it. I wanted to ask, there's been a lot of discussion about Ryan Needs coming in as the set piece coach this season. On the defensive set piece side of things, for you as a goalkeeper, what's your role? Has the way you look at those situations and the way you approach them changed at all since Ryan's come in this offseason?
He's asked me to be a little more vocal about things, be a little bit more of a leader back there when it comes to those defensive set pieces. But I really like Ryan. I know the rest of the group does as well because he's very clear in the way he'd like to do things, especially with the system he's come in and implemented this season. So, I mean, in the last few years, it hasn't been as clear, but having a specific set piece coach always helps. And I know right from the get-go, first week of preseason, he knew exactly what he wanted to do and not changing for anybody. So yeah, I think that's something we all really appreciate, especially when things don't go our way or things maybe do go our way. Not switching it up and making sure that the system stays the same so that everybody's familiar with it. So we're all very happy with it. And I think, yeah, like I said, he's asked me to be more of a leader, a little bit more vocal, but it also takes a little bit more film work, a little bit more studying, especially with different opponents every week. So that's something I do with him, working just to see tendencies that teams will do on their attacking set pieces, things we need to look out for, and then just different things that I need to remind our defensive, going into each different type of set piece that we might face throughout the game.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Alex Calabrese from Men in Red 97.
Hey, Chris, how you doing today?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. The Olympics are coming up later this year over the summer. I know there's a camp next week that you're probably not going to be at. How do you feel about that tournament? And is that a team you want to be involved with?
The Olympics, you mean? Like
yes,
how
the
I feel
Olympics.
about that tournament?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, if I can go, I'd love to go. I love to represent my country, and that's you know, everybody's dream is to become an Olympian. But like I said earlier in past interviews, that's kind of up to the coaches, up to the national team and their decisions. So if I do get called in and I am able to go, you know, I'll represent the city of Chicago the best I can. If I don't, I know we have Leagues Cup and a couple more games to play during that time frame. So you know, get some points.
Thanks.
Thank you. And now we'll go back to Brian Sandalo.
Thanks, E. Just a little bit off topic, a little bit. This game Saturday is an afternoon game, which is a very rare thing now in MLS. Is that something that you would prefer? And also, you know, last year I think you guys had one, maybe two afternoon games. How much does it kind of mess with your circadian rhythm, and how do you how do you adjust when you play an afternoon game, considering that all the other games are 6:30 or 7:30 at night?
Yeah, I personally prefer the earlier games, so the afternoon games. I know we don't have many throughout the season, and you know, because almost all of our games are played at that 6:30, 7:30 time slot. I've grown kind of used to it, and something that I have to do then for those games is just kill a lot of time throughout the day waiting to go to the stadium. But yeah, for those early games, I think the benefit is you know, you maybe wake up, have breakfast, and you get to go. Like there's no time wasting, there's no waiting to see how the day might end up. So yeah, there's no time killing. There's just wake up, breakfast, head to the stadium, play a game, then you still got the rest of your day. So I personally like that. Some guys like the night games better. Especially I know the ones coming from Europe, they prefer the later games because I think that's what they're used to. But yeah, I mean, I'm game for whatever though, you know.
Thanks.
Thank you. And we will go back to Joe Chats.
Thanks, E. Thanks, Chris. Couldn't leave you with only one.
There you go.
Curious, you've had a couple different defensive pairings in front of you between Tobias, Rafa, Mauricio, obviously Andrew getting injured, and Alan Aragoni coming in the lineup. How, with the need to be more vocal, has that been with adjusting to new defenders and new center backs, new outside backs? Nothing that's easy in the short term.
Yeah, it's important, but I'd say it's becomes increasingly obvious that these guys that you just mentioned have made it really easy on me. They're very big on communication, so they're open to listening to things, and they're very clear if they need to tell me something that they'd like to change. So obviously, like communication is a big component of the game, but it helps having defenders in front of you who are willing to talk with you rather than talk at you or not listen. So. I mean, it's yeah, like you said, with Toby, Mauricio, Allen, Gutman, Chase, you know, Wyatt, Rafa, whoever's in there. I know that they're going to give 100%. Two, they're very clear in the way they want to do things. They're very communicative, and they're social about how they feel, which is something I appreciate because a lot of times if you get defenders who are kind of quiet, it doesn't help that you don't know how they feel about certain things. So that's not something I have to worry about. And yeah, it just makes my job a little bit easier. But communication's always massive.
Of course, and Tehran's always the quiet one, I assume.
He's very, very loud.
Thank you, Joe. And we will go last question to Alex Campbell.
Thanks again, Chris. I actually wanted to ask something a little more specific. I mean, not just about obviously you would like to go to the Olympics, but I'm curious, you know, maybe a year and a half ago, it was kind of you and Gaga were the two names who were kind of splitting all those minutes for those U23 teams. And then this last weekend, you get to match up with a guy like Patrick Schulte, and that group has just kind of grown over the last year and a half of guys vying for that spot. What kind of motivation is that when you see that there really are, you know, guys everywhere now getting these
Yeah, like you
opportunities?
said,
Younger
yeah,
and
a year and a half ago, there weren't many guys in that goalkeeper pool. But for me, it's just added competition, and you get that extra chip on your shoulder, especially when playing league games against guys like Patrick. Great guy, but yeah, no, he's one that definitely pushes me to play at my best. Like you said, when Gaga was still here, pushed me a lot. John Poolscamp, who's been in the pool, whenever I get to touch base with him. I know we will during Leagues Cup. If I play, he's one who's definitely pushing me to be the best goalkeeper I can be. So yeah, those are just a few examples of guys who push me. It's just added competition, really. Just increases the level of competitiveness within me.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Chris. We really appreciate your time.
Yep, of course. Thank you.
And for everyone else on the call, we'll started right away. As a reminder, I see many of you already have your hands up, but if you have a question, please raise your hand virtually. And we'll start with Mr. Brian Sandalo from the Chicago Sun-Times.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Good morning, Frank. Nice to talk to
Morning.
you. Good morning. You know, after the results, the last two games, and especially how the last game went down, how do you keep the belief in the team up? Since, to be honest, there were, other games like that last year, the year before, where points were dropped late.
Yeah, I think that you have to look at overall the whole game. Brian, good morning. Good to have you back, man. But I think overall, when you look at the game in its whole, I think you looked at we had a very good game. I mean, when you look at the way we defended, the way we were able to in possession to break them down, to create opportunities and stuff like that, that was really positive stuff. I think now the final pass and moments could be better. I think there are things that we need to continue to improve on. So I think for me, when you look at the three games, you look at if you look at a negative, you say 1 point in three games for sure. That's disappointing because we've played and we deserved, I believe, more than that 1 point. But I think that all these games are making us stronger as a team. I think, and then in the end, I don't think it has nothing to do with anything in the past. For me, really, no. I think we have 7 new players here. The mentality is different. I think that in all these games, we created opportunities in the end to win the game, and that's the difference. It's not that we're sitting back, and I think it's just one play that we need to be really focused in the end, and out of nothing we give up an opportunity. So for me, there is a big difference. I take a lot of positives away from all the 3 matches. I think it's making us stronger and better as a team. The disappointing thing is that we have 1 point to show for it. We know that, and but I think as a team as a whole, our ability, what we've done on both phases, with the ball, without the ball, transition moments, I think have been very good.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Joe Chats from On Tap Sports.
Thanks, E. Thanks, Frank. How are you?
I'm great, Joe. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, thanks. Frank, I asked Chris this as well, but I'm curious, are you seeing the type of frustration that leads to productive training sessions from your team? 1.9, we've talked about it, but are you seeing the proper response from this group?
I think for me, the trainings has been great from day one when we got together with this group. I think that all it was really important to add quality to the team. I think we have added really good pieces. I think there's really good competition in every spot. I think we're very demanding and clear from the expectations, how we want to work together. So for me, that part, regardless, I don't think that we need results. If you need results, then for me, I think that I think it's the mentality and attitude to come every day and look to improve as a team. I think the training is an area where we look to get better and we push the guys. I think their attitude every day has been really good. Training sessions have been really sharp, and I think that's why we've been really competitive in all the matches. I think we, don't have the points to show for, in my opinion, the way the team has performed on the field, but that part, as far as the training, the mentality, the attitude of the group, has been excellent. And I think that's what's prepared us really well for every match. And I think that has to continue. It's early in the season.
Yep.
It's 3 games. I know we don't want to fall far behind. We knew that it was the start was, when you look at it from the 6 games, 4 on the road, but we need to get points and we need to get results in the end of the day, and we know that. But coming into the pitch, coming to training every day, it's been really pleasant to see the attitude and the work rate of the guys, and that's been really positive, and I wouldn't expect anything less.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Alex Campbell from CHGO.
Morning, Frank. Thanks as always for taking the time.
Good morning, Alex. How are you? Thank you.
I'm well. I wanted to ask, as a former striker yourself, obviously, I can imagine you want to get Hugo more looks in the box. You want to see him getting on the end of, you talk about key passes, more chances. As somebody who knows, who can probably relate to how he's thinking about things, what's kind of your message to him as you continue to work on getting him more chances? How do you keep him, motivated to keep making those runs?
Yeah.
What's kind of your general conversation with him through this growth period?
The one thing is, and this is not my thing, is like, I think as as a guy that's been in that position. I played almost like a second forward midfielder, but I think over the years, my ability now to be around some top level coaches and some really world-class players that are retired. The one thing they've always told me is that the one thing that takes doubt, when strikers have doubt, the only thing you can do, the only thing that takes doubt away from any striker is repetition and training. And I think Hugo is a guy that's always looking for the next chance to come. He's not a guy that that really keeps it in his mind if he gets a chance and maybe it doesn't go in. He's always looking for the next opportunity. He's working extremely hard in training, and I think that's what gives players and strikers. We put them around goal. We do a lot of repetitions around goal, and I think that's the one thing that confidence comes from there that can take away any doubt that you can have. And it's early for me in the season. He had better looks against in Columbus. And I think it's going to come. He's working extremely hard. We're getting to know him as a player and as a team. He's getting to know our players better. And the last game we did create better opportunities for sure. I think that we have to continue to do that. Continue to look for him. He's got to continue to make the runs, and we need to surround him also with players around him that can support him. But you take that away in training, Alex, for sure. That's what gives any player, and especially strikers, the confidence. When there's doubt, the only thing that can remove it is training and sharp around training.
Thank you. And now we go to our other Alex Calabrese.
Hey, Coach, how are you today?
Alex, how are you, man?
I'm good. So Montreal, a team you know very well, two very different games against them last season, and they've had a great start to this season. What are your expectations for them this weekend on the road for them, their fourth straight?
Yeah. My only thing with my players is this is the first three games we knew that they were going to be difficult because of the teams we played and this or that. It's not easy to win games, but it's harder to win games when everyone expects you to win games. So when you look at, maybe this is not putting Montreal down or anything like that. When the schedule comes out and you have Montreal at home, and then you're saying, okay, this is a game that we need to get a result. So, those are the games that we need to be very careful about, and we need to prepare very well, like we have been. I don't do this. Our staff doesn't do that. And it was a reminder to the players that we can't underestimate any opponent in this league. So we have to prepare. It's a good team. They had a very good start. They're going to come in with confidence, but we're at home. We played teams now that have played and are building in a similar ways with a back three. So I think that gives us familiarity. I think, they're all different, of course, and we have to adjust some things, but the one thing that we cannot do is underestimate anyone going to the match thinking that, that this will be an easy game, because it won't, and we have to prepare the right way. It was a reminder to the players yesterday. The guys are worked extremely hard, and we're going to be focused and ready to go on game day, man, to do whatever it takes to get a result and get back on track.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brian, I see your hand is up again.
Yeah, just a little bit of a different topic here, Frank. You guys are playing an afternoon game,
Yeah.
first of three straight. How much does that change the routine that you put the guys through during the week? And just how much of a challenge is that to overcome when you play 7:30, 7:30, 6:30, 7:30, and three afternoon games followed by, I think, mostly night games the rest of the season?
Yeah, no, it's an adjustment, and that's the one thing is that when we looked at it, we've adjusted also our training sessions to start at 1 p.m. so the guys can really start preparing, when do they get up, when do they eat their meals before training. So we've been on top of that, and I think that leading up to this game every day, we were training at 1 p.m. just to kind of adjust to game time. I think that's very important. So we're doing whatever we can to make sure that the guys adjust in that way, and they're ready to go. Nothing else we can do.
Yeah.
Other than train the right way, practice at the same time. I think those adaptations are important to the players also, and we're doing that. I think the guys will be ready. I think, you know, when you go 3-4 days into changing that routine, I think we're trying to manage that and prepare the guys so they're ready for Saturday's game.
Yeah. What did you prefer as a player? Day games or night games?
I just think, you know, for me, I think when I played, I think this was when, you know, I go back with my Olympic team days with my coach Lothar Osiander, and he just said, Frank, specific adaptation to impose demand. So when you go to Jamaica and you play in the heat, we have to go train in the heat to kind of adjust and stuff like that. So I think wherever, even when I was in Europe, that we played games earlier or later in the year because of the heat and stuff like that, then we train later in the day just to be prepared, be better prepared. If you ask me, I like afternoon games. If it's 3 or 5 o'clock, I prefer that early. You know, not a guy when I was a player to sit around all day waiting for matches, you know. So 5 o'clock matches would be great, you know. If it's really hot, then I don't want to be out there in the heat doing that. I think that impacts, but that was just my personally what I liked, I think. But with the players now, with the time change, we're trying to do the best for them to adjust. I don't think we'll have a heat problem here in Chicago this early in the year, so they'll be ready to go and looking forward to the match.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you. And we'll go last question to Jose Gudiño from Conexión Deportiva.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for the time. Coach, quick question. After the expectation generated in the first game, where there were more than 26,000 fans, how do you plan to maintain that expectation so that people continue to support and attend the stadium despite the 2 consecutive defeats? Thank you.
Yeah, I just think that I think the games, when you look at the team's performance, have been really good. I think it's been really exciting matches. I think the team has stepped on the field in every other match with a lot of energy. I think it's been really exciting to watch the team and see a lot of the new players. And you know, even in the first home game, I think the atmosphere, the support from our fans was amazing, was great, and I expect the same support from our fans. I think they're behind the team. They're here in the good moments and right to help us through this difficult start, I would say, not because of the performance base. I think we haven't gotten the results that I feel we deserve. And the fans have always been there for us. They'll continue to be there. That's important. I think we need them. They play a big role also for, you know, coming out on the pitch and hearing their support that they give the players. I think that's important, but they'll come out Saturday also. I expect no difference.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach, so much for taking the time this morning.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate
Take
it.
care.
Thank you, everyone on the call. We really appreciate you adjusting to our time and look forward to seeing you all on Saturday.
Thanks, Z.
Thank you.